Welcome back to the NordVPN Top 6 show. Hit the like buttons, subscribe, and get ready to leave your comments below. Using social media, using the internet is a fun place for the majority of people. But what's really important to remember is to protect yourself at all times. When out and about using public Wi-Fi, maybe when you're at an airport, in a cafe, it's absolutely imperative to protect yourselves against hackers and people that will try to steal your personal data. Public Wi-Fi is very convenient, but it comes at the expense of security. When you're answering emails in your local cafe or absent-mindedly scrolling through social media whilst at an airport, somebody could be tracking and hacking your data. Using NordVPN protects your data whilst you are using other networks. This hides your browsing history, your bank information, and your personal passwords and more. Aside from protecting my data, one of the biggest benefits to me when it comes to using NordVPN is allowing me access to my shows, sporting events, and apps that I subscribe to wherever I am around the world. I have accounts in America with Peacock and other parts of the world to catch up on sport with. But if I'm not in the USA, I'm still able to use NordVPN to connect to my apps and stream the football, stream the movies, and watch my favorite shows. We'll speak about NordVPN a little bit more during the Top 6 show to give you some real insight to the benefits that you can get through using this. But Nord are celebrating their 11th birthday. So firstly, happy birthday to them. But what does this mean for you? Every single one of you that subscribes and signs up to a 2-year plan will receive a mystery gift on top. You have to use my exclusive link, which is in the description below. Now enjoy the rest of the Top 6 show. Hit the like and the share button, as I say, and get ready to put your comments in. They're very valuable to us. And let's do this. Welcome back, everybody. The Premier League returns. Is it champions or bust for Arsenal in the home straight? Liverpool take on City this weekend. United, Newcastle. Spurs circus is going on, and we are going to talk a little bit of Fergie and Hall of Fame nonsense as well. But welcome back to my brilliant panel tonight. We've got Roy the Boy back in Chelsea. We've got Gav back again by popular demand. Neeks is here with us. We've got man like Tom Little, who's hoping to do Arsenal a favour tomorrow by taking points off of Manchester City. And Jessica Black joins us all the way from LA. How are we all doing? We all good?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
All good, happy and healthy, can't complain.
Everyone excited that the Premier League's returning, though. It's been 2 weeks.
Fucking hate international break.
I don't know, man. I'm a bit nervous, man. I don't even know if I want to go through all of that, but you have to.
Why? You're comfortably getting top 4, Neeks. You should be fine and dandy.
Boy, you know.
It's actually some people excited for it being back. I'm dreading it. We've got Man City.
We've won 3 of the last 4 games, so I should be. A part of me is positive, but we could just go back to being shit. So I don't know what to expect from us, man.
Well, we're going to be delving into.
I just need Liverpool to do me a big favour, man.
Well, we will hold out much hope. We will be getting on to that. The first subject, though, the viewers want to speak about today is the Tottenham circus. I'm going to go to Jessica first on this because the manager's gone. Mason, Ryan Mason is taken over with the assistant manager. Peratici's now been banned further after making like a public appearance on Tottenham in the midst of it all. They're an absolute joke right now. Their fans are fuming. Do you see their season fizzling out now that all this is going on? Or do you think this could be something that galvanizes them, Jay?
I don't even know, because what is fizzling out for Tottenham? Like, I don't know what's going to happen to them. They had Conte, and they were having their best season ever. Then they slid down. That Stellini guy did a good job for a little bit. Then he wasn't. Like, it's hard to tell what you're going to get from Tottenham, because one minute they seem like they're in complete disarray, and then they'll pull out a result here or there. We know that they can be kind of consistent when they only have to focus on one competition, which is where they are right now. And they have good players that can get that over the line for them. I'm just unsure whether or not they view this as some big circus, or if this is just business as usual. This is kind of what they've been like for the last couple of managers that they've had. So it'll be interesting to see how they come back, but I still think that Tottenham can maybe piece together just enough form to get into the top 4. But that being their one and only goal every single season has got to be something that they look at. So yeah, I don't even know. Like, to be honest, it looks like there's a lot going on, but if they turned around and got a result at the weekend, I wouldn't be surprised either, because that's just kind of how they are. They're always kind of inconsistent and doing this thing. It's hard to know with Tottenham, but we just know that they're not going to do anything beyond make top four. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, out of all the competitions, top four is all they can do. What are you saying, Neeks? Do you sort of see this? I mean, the Peditici thing has kind of embarrassed them, because the fact that he's still been in and around the club while he's got this worldwide ban is ridiculous. The geezer's under suspicion of being an absolute crook. That's kind of insult to injury, but with no proper manager, can you really see them delivering something? Kane looking like he's going to leave. It's not good times to be a Spurs fan.
I mean, Spurs, innit? Like, they're never, nothing's ever great for them when all is said and done. It's only ever been, it's exciting, but in the end, it kind of results in failure. So just them being in the news, maybe it's good for Spurs fans, because if they weren't, if Conte didn't say what he said, if Paratici wasn't involved in what he was, they'll just be existing, and no one will really be taking them seriously. No one will really paying them any mind. So maybe this is good for Spurs fans that we're actually speaking about them. There's something going on. I think their top four hopes definitely have been hit by Conte, because unless they were going to go out and get a permanent manager to replace him, I think it decreases their opportunity of getting it. Starting with the game this weekend, I think it's going to be interesting how what are the players thinking? What's Kane thinking? What is he thinking? All right, I'm going to fight for top four because I want to be here next year. Or is he thinking, I'm leaving anyway, I don't really care? The rest of the players aren't even performing anyway. It's pretty much Kane or bust as far as they're concerned. So I don't know. Spurs are just in a very weird place where I think some fans are like, I don't even want top four. Top four only helps Levy, only helps the owners. It doesn't help the club. It doesn't help the play. It doesn't help us as fans. So yeah, I don't know. I think Spurs are a very big risk of kind of just falling away this season. But I don't think the fans are going to be that disappointed if they do, because they know that getting top four would only mask over the problems, and really and truly they need a big rebuild. And I think going outside the top four, not getting Champions League football, might actually fast track that.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. And it's what I do love with Spurs fans, though, is that it takes, not all of them, but it takes this for them to all admit what they really think about the club. Average, all summer, winning transfer windows, going to beat you all in the title races, beating you all the trophies with one of you. As soon as it goes wrong every year, they put their tail between their legs and do this. But don't be surprised, rivals of Tottenham and every other member of the top six, if they get a decent manager in like Nagelsmann and make a few good signings, they'll be back out in August with huge chest talking about how they're going to finish in front of Chelsea. They're going to win another trophy before Man United. They'll catch Arsenal this year. Don't be surprised to see it. Like they have a very quick. They're like Zebedee. They're bounce back really quick.
But I feel like some clubs just operate in that manager rehire cycle thing, and it gives you the endorphins. I feel like Spurs fans, they'll forget about everything that happened with Conte and Jose Mourinho. They get the new manager, and then they have those endorphins again about something new, when the amount of the lack of stability over time should be the focus. But it's like, I feel like clubs like that, they're like, okay, sacking the manager gives you something to be hyped about, gives you something to talk about, it gives people hope again. And so this is your fourth manager and who knows how long, or potentially your fourth manager. So I don't know how you can get excited about it, but I can see them doing that, because that's what clubs do to you. They sack the manager sometimes just to give you those endorphins again. We all know when you get a new manager, it's exciting. And I can see Spurs fans falling into that, because they're never going to do what's required to get their club going to where they expect to be. And then you can have a conversation of whether or not they should expect that, because I still kind of look at Spurs and I'm like, why do you expect more? You were kind of nothing. And then what? Enoch and Levy and them got you into a position where now you're a little bit relevant. Just be happy. Just get somebody that'll help you play good football and chill.
That's the thing, though, because I think it all comes down to this summer what Tottenham believe their main aim should be. because I don't believe that Julian Nagelsmann, as the new manager, is enough of a big appointment, should I say, to keep Harry Kane round. Harry Kane's already at his wit's end. And I don't think a project manager who is going to take two years to even get to a competitive state is what he wants at this point of his career. He's 30 now. He needs to go and win something. So then the Tottenham sit there and go, do we just go and get a big name manager to try and keep him round? Maybe we'll nick a trophy and he'll have that, that mentality of one trophy at Tottenham means more than 4 or 5 elsewhere. And I really do believe that Tottenham and Levy especially might go down that path, because what is Tottenham without Harry Kane at the minute? What is Tottenham's pull without Harry Kane? What's Tottenham's relevance without Harry Kane? Tottenham Hotspur are relevant because of Harry Kane.
What big name manager though? What big name managers is around? Like that's the market is awful right now for managers, really.
Ancelotti will go to Tottenham.
Ancelotti to Tottenham.
I mean, he went to Everton. He went to Everton. If you pay him enough, he'll go.
Everton, yeah.
You know what? Fair point. I did forget about that.
We need him at Brazil, so hopefully not. I mean, that's the thing, Tom.
Sorry, not we.
Sorry, go on.
Not we.
Yeah, we.
Not we.
I speak for myself when I say I don't want Carlo Ancelotti in this league again. Not until Jurgen Klopp's gone, because I don't like Carlo Ancelotti and Klopp. They don't get on well.
He's dunked on you too many times. Fair enough.
Yeah.
The thing is...
Go on, Gav.
Yeah, like Tottenham had a win now manager and they weren't able to do it. And I understand what you say about Nagelsmann calling him a project manager. I think because he's only 35, people think he's still a rookie. He's been managing for 8 years. He's been around and he's taken teams from obscurity, because who were Hoffenheim? Hoffenheim have got one of the worst supported teams in the Bundesliga in terms of the size of the club. If they go down, which they look like they could go down this season, then there's no hope of them coming back anytime soon. He got them into relevancy and got them into Europe. You boys played against them in the Champions League, Tom. You know what I mean? And then he's gone to Leipzig and done what he did at Leipzig, and now he won the league last year. He's in within a shout. I'm still so confused over why he's left Bayern. But if Tottenham were to get Nagelsmann, I think that would be a great appointment for Tottenham. I don't want it to happen because I hate Tottenham Hotspur. I don't want them to prosper. But if there's no win now managers that are knocking around, and even Luis Enrique turned around and said the other day that he has no intention of coming to England at this time. That tells me that he's waiting for a.
Fabrizio,
He said it 2 days.
He wants to come to England.
Who said this?
Yeah,
sorry? I missed the name. Who?
Fabrizio. I spoke Fabrizio Romano.
No. Yeah, said about who?
Oh, Enrique.
Luis Enrique.
Oh, okay.
Luis Enrique. Yeah, he wants to come to England, not at this time. So that tells me he does not want to go to Tottenham, and he is waiting.
He said he wanted to go to a project that could do big things, which automatically takes Spurs out of the equation.
They can't do it.
I honestly think he was on his knees for us there. I'm not going to lie.
On Luis Enrique, though, the original report said he was open to the idea. And this is where football fans get dragged into their club's PR, because they'll go, there was no official offer. There wasn't. But there was definitely talk between intermediaries. And he's like, fuck that if that's their project. Because he was open originally, and now he's shut it down. Chike here says, money talks, BS walks, get Simeone. Simeone wouldn't go to Tottenham, would he?
Let's be honest, he's not taking the pay cut either.
Manager in the world.
Yeah, exactly. No chance.
He's on 34 million a year. Tottenham aren't paying Simeone close to that.
No
but
way.
I have a question, because I've seen this on Twitter quite a bit from Chelsea fans, where now that Nagelsmann is available, they're feeling a little bit like, well, maybe this Potter thing is not as good. Like, you know what I mean? Because it seemed like they started to come around. Like, Roy, from your perspective, like, would you sack Potter to get Nagelsmann? Because if Nagelsmann went to Spurs and you guys had Potter, I feel like that's like an
You'd
alternate
have the worst manager in the top
universe.
Six.
You what?
If Nagelsmann goes to Spurs,
Roy, that's cheeky of you to think you're in the top 6. Cheeky of you to think you're.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
Oh, we've got the worst manager in the Big Six.
What we'll call it is the tradition, because I used to do this back in the day. It used to be the traditional top 4. Now it's the traditional top 6. That's what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Traditional top 6. Because obviously, top 6 on its own means people have to automatically load up PremierLeague.com and look at the table. But
They're usually the top half.
we are actually currently 10th, tied on points to Villa and 11th.
Playing
We're
11th.
playing this weekend,
Yeah.
so it's a point of that. But with regards to
Nagelsmann
Nagelsmann, yeah, he's a better manager than Potter. And initially, I wasn't really too sold on him because from what I didn't really watch Bayern like week in, week out, but from what I did see, he's got a few similar issues to Potter where he just changes system a bit too much. And if you look at all the top managers, Pep, Arteta this season, Klopp in previous years, they've had the same effective system and they've used it week in, week out to get results. And with Nagelsmann, yes, he won the league with Bayern Munich. Yes, he was only 1 point off top, which for Bayern isn't good enough. But he's changed system a lot this season. And doing that with a squad like ours, where they're not really that used to playing with each other, a lot of new incomings, I feel like they're not really going to have the chance to build chemistry and start to really churn out effective results week in, week out. So, yes, he's a better manager than Potter. And so, therefore, yes, I would take him. But there's just a couple small red flags with regards to maybe how he left Bayern, what was the state of the dressing room at the time. Because our dressing room's full of, he's got a few big egos in there as well.
Yeah.
So, could that be a potential?
I don't know. He's worked with the RB Leipzig system and all that.
Yeah, and obviously our
Isn't
director.
that what you guys are trying to do as well?
Yeah, our director knows him as well.
That
So
would
they've
be a
got a
better
relationship
choice for
going.
you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
I
be
like-
happy with it, but there's tiny red flags.
I like Nagelsmann. I think he's very, very good. And I know he's been managing a while, but he is still young. And the thing is, when you're young, there's certain things that it takes years to develop. And your understanding of the game, as much as he's been a manager since he was 28, he's still only 35 years old. He's only got X amount of experience in football. Some managers, they build that experience whilst they're playing, and then they go into being a manager. You're just older. And I do think that plays a part. But I think he'll definitely do a better job than Potter. And I hope Spurs don't get him. In terms of football, though, this weekend, Everton Spurs, it is on Monday, so we'll probably touch on this a little bit on Monday's edition. But how does everybody see that game going? Just very briefly, because we will cover that on Monday's top six. I would imagine.
I'll be surprised if Spurs win. I'll be so surprised if Spurs win.
Are Spurs at home?
No, it's at Goodison. It's at Goodison Park.
Yeah, it's at Goodison Park.
Oh, okay.
I'll be surprised if they win. I know Spurs are so unpredictable.
These relegation sides.
You can't predict them. But with everything that's going on,
they're fighting for their lives.
Anybody
That's played against one recently knows that these guys, you want somebody that's middle of the table kind of safe.
Yep.
Right now,
you want Chelsea
like a Chelsea.
Oh, piss off.
Yeah, like yeah.
I think this game's got
a little bit.
This game's got Everton set piece written all over it.
Yeah.
Low shots.
This game's got 0-0.
Everton get a corner.
Guys, just one at a time, please. Just so we can hear everybody, please. Sorry,
I'll go on.
I just can't see there being a goal. I've watched so much of Everton this year, and yes, they get set pieces, but that's about it. Let's just say the set piece deliveries are off slightly. They are not scoring. I can promise you right now, they will not score. And
against Spurs
Tottenham
3 as well.
Tottenham, they're just dreadful. They've got, who is it? Stellini and Mason as manager. It will just be one of the deadest games of the season, 100%.
Well,
crap team against crap team.
Your man had a better record, didn't he? Like when Conte got nominated for Manager of the Month, he wasn't actually on the bench, and it was Stellini who picked up all the results and stuff recently, isn't it? So
I don't think, Tom, it's going to be. I don't think it'll be a bad game. I think it's one of these relegation teams now. All their games in the home straight are exciting in one way, shape, or form. They have to win games. Draws are no good. Spurs, they're going to try and bounce back, but they haven't attacked all year. Maybe they'll be more attacking now that he's gone. Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting game Monday, but I'm going to go for an Everton win just because I think Spurs are going to fall outside the top four now. Viewers, give us your thoughts and give us your feelings on that in the comments section below. In terms of the top four race, there is a big game this weekend, though. Sunday, Neeks. Manchester United take on Newcastle United. Arguably our hardest remaining game of the season. How do you see it going?
I expect it to be a tough game. If it's not a tough game, I'll be very, very surprised. I mean, the fortunate thing is that we've had a break and we've needed a break since the World Cup ended. Like the story of our season is literally in between those two international breaks, the World Cup and now. And we've gone on a great run in between and won a trophy and progress through the cup competitions. But we've been flagging. We have been flag. We've been getting over the line. We've been coming from behind. We've been dropping some points, whatever, and we are. I wouldn't say we're on our last legs, but it feels like at any moment, if the international break didn't come when it did, at any moment we could have just fallen apart. And I don't just mean in terms of losing games, but in terms of losing players, injuries, suspensions, players just not coming back. Players have been injured for ages. You're thinking, where are you? Like Delia Smith, we're going to be having you. What's going on? And I think this international break came at the best time. 2-week break. Of course, they went on international duty. Some of them didn't. Some of them were on a break in New York. Some of them got suspended after the first game.
Some of them were injured.
Yeah, some of them got a suspension in the first game and got a rest. So I think it's come at a perfect time. So I expect this game, we're going to be, I'm not going to say at our best, but at the fittest we've been in weeks, arguably in months. So I'm expecting us to put in a performance. But Newcastle are good. We can put in a performance and Newcastle can still stop you from scoring. A 0-0 wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't think Newcastle will be mad to not lose the game. And I think a 0-0 for us isn't a bad result considering where we are. And as you said, it's probably our hardest game between now and the end of the season. I hope we win. It will give us the momentum to push on through the rest of the season. But I wouldn't be surprised if we draw. And you know what? Honestly, as bad as it sounds, I'll probably take a score draw. I wouldn't take a 0-0. I don't like 0-0s. But I'll probably, if you gave me a 1-1, 2-2 now, it's all right. You take it, move on to the next game, qualify through the cup competitions, hopefully win another trophy or two. But it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game.
Certainly is. It's one I'm not looking forward to because St. James's Park's been a hard place for teams to win this year. I mean, they've been a hard team to beat across all fronts. And yes, we beat them in the Carabao Cup final. We've got no Casemiro going into this game. Hopefully we hear something in the next day or two about Eriksen because it looks like he's returning soon. We need him. Hopefully Scott McTominay can take that international break form, not just against
Man. 4 goals in 2 games.
4 goals. I hope he brings that in. I hope we really need a 3 or 4 game period now where McTominay does what he does every year, where he does 3 or 4 games in a little period where he's brilliant. He does that most seasons. We need that now. I want to be confident going into this game, but every time I predict Man United to win a game this year, we don't. So I'm predicting a 5-0 win to Newcastle. Because
Schmeichel's going to get chipped from the edge of the area.
Yeah. One of them ones. Yeah.
There again.
Yeah.
It's a tough one for me. We can beat them there, and if we win this game, I think any thoughts and feelings of being dragged back into the top 4 race will maybe go away for Man United fans. We've got to go away to Brighton. We've got to go away to Tottenham, and we still play Chelsea. Those are our 4 hardest games of our remaining 11 matches. We've got 12 games left to go. Those 4 are really really hard matches for us. And if we could get a win, I'd be really confident of us not being dragged back into this top 4 race, even though I think Spurs are going to be pulled out of it, and I think Liverpool won't make it. I think Liverpool's next 3 games really helps Man United, but it's a tough one for us. However, no Casemiro, but Rashford rested, fit, raring to go. And the boy's had the season of his life. He's back to his best and gone beyond that. He's one of the best attackers in the world. And if we can create chances for him, then we're going to have opportunities to win this football match.
Where's Martial? Where is Martial? That's the question I want to answer.
I think Martial is mentally checked out, which means he ain't getting himself recovered. That's just the way it goes. But he ain't going to be there. The biggest threat with Newcastle, they've got Bruno, obviously Guimaraes, who's difficult, but Isak started to look really tasty before the international break, and we've got to have a plan to stop him, especially with Casemiro not being there to sort of stop him and to nullify that and kind of shield that back line. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Rivals, how do you see it going? I'll go to Tom first on this.
I could see Newcastle doing something, but I think it mainly depends on who you go with at right back. Because I assume St. Maximin will be starting. So logically, you'd go Wan-Bissaka. If you go Dalot, I just think that's going to be where Newcastle spend an entire time attacking down. And we've seen what Alan St. Maximin can do against some weak fullbacks this year in terms of creating chances for Newcastle. I think losing Casemiro is a big thing, obviously. You're without your best midfielder. You lose so much control. But I also think you've got so much more firepower than them. Like, yes, St. Maximin's dangerous at everything but kicking the ball in the back of the net. Same thing with Almiron at times. Same thing with Willock. Same thing with Joe Linton. So I really think they only have one player who's a real consistent threat in Isak. And if you're able to just neutralise the ball getting into him, you'll be fine. And you will score goals. You will score goals. Rashford's in too good a form to not score goals. It's just if you can keep them out. And I think you will. I think this will be the one where it won't be pretty. Like, it won't be pretty at all. But I think you get the job done like 1-0 or 2-0. And you just leave St. James's Park and you're a secure top 4.
I hope. I pray. I hope you're right. I genuinely do. Like, I'm really nervous about this game this weekend. I'm annoyed it's the last game on Sunday. I wish we were the first game because I really want to enjoy the
I wish this were the first game.
And we'll obviously move on to that a bit later. But look, I'm not. I don't know. I'm nervous about it because I respect Newcastle. They are a genuine threat now, and I think anybody writing them off, especially in terms of individual games, is crazy. They really are. But yeah, we've got half a chance. Anyone fancy Newcastle winning, beating Man United? You're on mute, Roy the boy.
No.
Oh yeah, I said I think it's going to be a draw. I just think I'd actually completely forgotten that Casemiro was suspended, so I just think that will give Newcastle. You guys play 4-2-3-1. Newcastle play 4-3-3. So without Casemiro, a potential 3v2, I just think that will be enough for them to not lose the game. And I think you'll get one. I don't see them keeping you out because, like Tom said, you've got too much firepower. But yeah, I do think they will find a way to get a goal. Where it's going to come from, I'm not too sure. But I think they'll get a goal, and I think it'll end 1-1, which isn't really a bad result for either side, to be honest.
I get that. Jess, Neeks pulled on something when he was talking about we were really flagging towards the end of in the league and in the cups up until the international break. We got slapped by Liverpool, and we won 3 of our last 4 games. We drew the game against Southampton, but we really weren't at our best. And that FA Cup game, you know, those 2 red cards really gave us life. Do you think Man United will get back to playing some of their better football, or do you still think there'll be some inconsistencies within the team in that same way?
I think there'll still be some inconsistencies because you don't have Casemiro, and we know how influential he is in your team. So until you get him back, I just don't see the midfield having that same. We know one player can really make a huge difference. He's not your entire team, but things just go a lot smoother when he's there. So I do think when he gets back, if the players, like you said, have taken a well-needed.
That's a long time.
Yeah, if they have gotten that well-needed rest, and then you can get Casemiro back, I feel like that's when you'll see the best United that you've seen this season. But I still see, especially like in this game, just St. James's Park, and just the way that they play there, and also Eddie Howe, like he finally used his brain and dropped Callum Wilson. It's taken way too long for him to make that decision. I don't know why it took so long, because he's dead. So I think, I think you played Newcastle at the right time when you won the Carabao Cup, deserved it, but we all know that you play teams at the right times and the wrong times. It might not be as good of a time to play Newcastle, but I still imagine Manchester United will be strong enough. Even in your worst period, which was kind of like those last couple of games, you still weren't horrendous. You weren't losing every single game. It's going to be a tight game, but until Casemiro comes back, I still see there being some inconsistency and some maybe just not playing at your best, especially through the midfield.
I think one of the things that maybe has been underplayed as well is actually the loss of Eriksen. Now, some United fans, probably more so than rival fans, to be fair, were critical of Eriksen in terms of especially off the ball and his physicality, which we knew. Eriksen's not a central midfield player, never has been. He's more of an attacking midfield player, but he was doing a job that I think was underrated by a number of Man United fans until he actually went out. And not having Casemiro and Eriksen is huge, because without Eriksen, yes, Casemiro can put out a lot of different fires, but when you got Eriksen, a lot of those fires don't even start because he's able to control and dictate the game. If you ain't got both, which we haven't, then that's where you're in problems. That's when we saw the game against Fulham, where we had literally no control of the game. We weren't able to stop them. We weren't able to start anything. And that's where the problem is going to be. Bruno and the rest of their midfield is going to be a problem. We hope that Sabitzer is able to play. Maybe with
could be a McFred pivot.
Yeah, he may go with Fred. I know he likes McTominay because of the height as well, but yeah, it's just a tough one. We ain't got Eriksen and Casemiro because they both do different jobs.
Yeah, and I think we've got to wait. It's hard on a Thursday. Obviously, we've changed the show because of commitments I've got tomorrow. Because I mean, pictures have just been revealed just now. Like Eriksen arrived at training and was trained with the group today. So he may be, but I don't know if he'll start. It's been a long time since he.
I don't think he'll start. Maybe.
But I think having him from the bench is important. And if over the next few games, remember as well, Casemiro's already missed one of those banned games in the FA Cup, which is good. So it's 3 remaining. And that's why if we can get through this game, with a win would be ideal. A draw's not great, but if we can avoid defeat without Casemiro in what is a really tough game, I think we'll be all right. But Garnacho's also back in training today, and so is Anthony Martial, to answer your question, according to this report that's come out. So they were back in training today. So, I mean, listen, Martial's not the best. We know that he isn't the future of Man United. But if we could add someone like him back in this run-in at the end, instead of it always being Weghorst, it will give us something because he is a better player. He's just never fit. Garnacho being fit important. And if Christian Eriksen can return and then Casemiro comes back fresh after his suspension, that's going to be really, really important for us. But look, United can definitely get the win. Viewers, we want to know what you think and feel. But Roy, what's your score prediction for the game? You say 1-1?
Yeah, I think 1-1.
1-1 from you. Neeks, what score are you going with, mate?
I'll go 1-1 as well, to be honest. I like a 2-2, but
Tom?
1-0 United.
I'd love that to be the case. Jessica Black?
2-2.
2-2. And I'm going to go with 5-0 Newcastle United.
Don't speak it into existence, Terry.
See, if you don't watch me enough, that's not what happens with me. Whenever I predict things, the opposite fucking happens.
There's a first time for everything, though, Teddy. I can't wait for your match reaction when you're sitting there going, I predicted this should happen. I knew it was coming.
Can you imagine? I doubt it. A super chat here says, love you, Terry, brother. Thank you. Let's have a discussion, brother. He says, can you ask Neeks for me that does he still think that Saka is the most overrated player ever? He said this for the World Cup.
I don't know who this guy is, but every time I'm on the stream, he comes up with these weird accusations that I've never stated. I love it though. Brilliant. Great banner. I definitely didn't say that. I do think Saka is overrated, not because he's not a quality player, but because I don't think he's world class. And anyone who is calling him world class, I think is overrated him. But we didn't have that conversation before the World Cup, so I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway.
Maybe he thinks you're rants. I don't know. Maybe
maybe.
You look the same, I suppose. Hair's the same, beard's the same. Yeah, it must be something like that. I don't know. But thank you for the super chat, my guy. I appreciate that. Big game for you this weekend, Tom. And I know that this is a big one for Arsenal fans as well. Viewers, make sure like buttons are hit. Make sure you're subscribing to the Terrace. And I want to give a big shout out to our title sponsors tonight, NordVPN. Of course, it's important to protect your data online. You don't want to get caught short. You don't want to have your money stolen. You don't want to have your identity stolen. You don't want to have your information hacked. That stuff you must protect yourself against. And if it's ever happened to you, you'll know how awful that is. Can actually damage your credit for up to 7 years as well, depending on what people do. But it has some practical advantages as well, which Jessica Black experienced this week. Obviously away from the UK at the moment. Wanted to watch England play. It wasn't on in the United States. So what did you do, Jess? What did you do with NordVPN to be able to watch that game? Just let everyone know.
Yeah, I just turned on my VPN to England and then signed into Channel 4 and I got to watch the game. It's easy.
Exactly. You see, that's what it's there for. So she's not here, but she was still here from a television point of view. So make sure you get it downloaded. Your subscriptions, whether it's from the UK, America, or anywhere in the world, when you travel, you get your content everywhere. It's as cheap as chips as well. It's less than a cup of coffee per month to have NordVPN. So your data is protected and you have access to content wherever you are around the world at any moment. And I always talk about this, but listen, between Peacock and my little friends over in Moldova with Satanta Sports, $2.99 a month to watch football, UFC, boxing, bit of AJ this weekend on it as well. Cheap as chips as well. So save you giving all your money to the likes of Sky and BT Sport as well. I'm not too sure if I should say that out loud, but they don't sponsor me. If I was working for them, I wouldn't say it, but I don't. They don't give me any money. So there we go. Find a cheaper way for you to watch things because no one in this country is going to save you any money. I mean, energy prices going up, petrol prices going up. Sky are probably going to hike their prices again at some point. So use NordVPN and find cheaper ways of watching sport, movies, and much, much more. Get that done. And exactly, don't go to dodgy sites. Don't. Honestly, I used to do that, but now you can get it legit. It streams perfect. I'm never sitting there with any buffering screen. Nothing. It's great. Plus, it's not illegal either. So make sure you get it done. Liverpool, young Tommy, playing Manchester City at the Etihad, 12:30 kickoff. We know how much Liverpool have loved them this year. How are you feeling about that, mate? How are you feeling about that game?
About as excited as someone whose team have won 0 out of 5 12:30 games this season can be. Everything is going against it, basically. Everything that, historically, our record at the Etihad, the time we're playing at, the form going into it, there's very little that's going our way. But I don't really care because Luis Diaz is back and Nunes is back and I can just enjoy the game. I can enjoy the game because we're not in a title fight. So I can actually almost lose a game. It's not like the years gone by where we couldn't drop any points. Because Tottenham are going to be ropey, I don't think Newcastle are going to be as consistent. I think top 4, you can afford to be a little bit more inconsistent for it this year. And I believe we can not afford to lose. And I don't want to see us lose, but if we lose, it's not the end of the world sort of thing. I think we can cause them problems. I think our attack can cause that defence problems. What worries me is their midfield against our midfield because our only good midfielders are injured. So we are going to be rocking up at the Etihad away with Henderson, Elliott, and Fabinho against Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Gundogan. If they just play 3 of them, that'd be bad enough. But they're going in with all 4. They're going to outnumber us and out-quality us. That's what worries me. So we're just going to have to play long ball and hope for it. I don't back our defence at the minute to keep Haaland quiet either. If we were to get results, it'd be a massively high-scoring game. I said that last time we won 1-0, but I don't believe our defence is as solid this time. I don't believe we've got the crowd in our favour, which is when we turn up. Could we get a result? Maybe. But if I was an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't be holding out much hope for us. I'd go, on a good day, 2-2.
Arsenal fans are on their knees. They're literally... I think they've got the "You Never Walk Alone" speakers blaring at their house. They go at the training ground. Yeah, I can't. Of course, Liverpool can get a result. But when's the last time Liverpool got a result at Etihad?
It was 1-1 a few seasons ago, right?
That I wouldn't class that as a result, though.
Yeah, but that's a result. That's a result from an Arsenal point of view. A draw is a result.
So yeah, you had that one, and the one before the last time we won there was 2018. In the Champions League.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough. That is going to be a tough game. It's so tough that if Man City rolled you over, and I'm talking rolled you over, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised. Man City, they know. I was talking to Ramon about this the other day, and he was like, when they had that performance in the first half against Spurs, and the crowd were booing, and Pep went on was on the fans at the end of the game. They haven't actually put in a bad performance since then. They've dropped points. They dropped points to Nottingham Forest. They've dropped points to Spurs even since then. But they haven't actually put in a bad performance since then. And I think they realize it is crunch time. They cannot afford. They have to have the mentality of we can't afford to drop no points. And I think that means they're going to go hell for leather. You're seeing him. He was doing this Bernardo Silva thing, auxiliary left back out of possession. And that was causing them pure problems. Now man's playing 4 centre backs and they're just saying, listen, you got Haaland, firepower. we cannot afford to slip up. And yeah, they may slip up. Don't get it twisted because they're not playing well. I don't think they're going to come out and start playing like peak Centurions. But I think they might be in a zone where they're like, you know what, we just need to win. And I think that could be to Liverpool's detriment. I'm looking for a 7-0 to kind of just gloss over our result. But like, 6 will do as well.
No, do you know what the thing is though? 'Cause obviously Haaland's been a doubt for the game, hasn't he? Because he hasn't been in training. Trust me, players turn up when Liverpool are on the cards. And N'Golo Kante, I can guarantee you, N'Golo Kante will start on the 4th. Every single season, he has an injury for months before we turn up, and then he's fit and he drops a masterclass. I'm sure Haaland will find the fitness if he wants to, but let's just say he's not going to. They just drop in World Cup winner Julian Alvarez, who's due a big game, and then we're in the same situation. So, again, we could win. I think Salah, they're playing 4 centre-backs. Salah always has a good game against Man City. I think Núñez will cause a lot of problems, as he always does. Maybe Diaz comes back and has a good game. But for me, that system that they've been playing recently where they have the 4-man midfield of Rodri, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, and De Bruyne, we cannot compete. We cannot. We are going to be murdered in that midfield.
James Milner looking for a 9 out of 10 performance that day. You know what I mean?
Do you know what? I'd take James Milner. I would actually start James Milner. My midfield that I would start that day is horrific because it's like choosing which fella wants to shag me misses. Neither. I would pick none. I'd go for none. But I've got to pick one. I've got to pick the lesser of evils. So I would genuinely look at starting Ox. I'd look at starting Milner because they at least run. They at least have legs. So we're going to get passed around anyway, but they can get back in time. So they can just be a body there and block it if it comes to that.
Yeah. They don't know if Foden's fit. Oh wait, no,
Foden's out to the end of the season, isn't he?
In terms of Foden's out. The Haaland one is like they're still saying he's doubtful, but Haaland is playing. Haaland will be there. He wasn't even injured. He had a minor injury. He could have played.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will play because I don't think he will play. If he's in any sort of doubt, I think they will keep him to make sure that he plays against us and against Bayern. I think Man City, they can look at their squad and feel like they have more than enough with or without Haaland to beat Liverpool at home. Like,
this is too big a game.
They don't need good play.
Yeah, I don't. This isn't a game where you can afford to go without him.
To me, this doesn't feel like the biggest game that they need to be worried about. But like I'm saying, if he's actually a doubt, I can. What's the difference? I mean, they're going to go in with Julian Alvarez. It's still the same. Like Liverpool are...
No, losing Haaland is not the same without Haaland. Come on.
No one's the same as Haaland.
But I'm saying, like, it's not going to... Like, the difference between Haaland and Julian Alvarez against the Liverpool that they're going to be playing against at home, for me, like, is not... Like, if you don't want Haaland to be out for Bayern or Arsenal, you just don't. So if he's a doubt, I can see him not playing or coming in later or whatever. Because
the golfing class isn't as high.
The thing is, though, I think Alvarez's play style, like we've kept Haaland quiet this season. I know he scored against us in the cup, but that's just because Joe Gomez decided he didn't want to turn up that game. We've kept him quiet before. I think Alvarez's profile and his flexibility, should I say, in terms of he can run in behind, but he can also drop deep into the midfield and, God forbid, make it a 5-man midfield because that's what they need. Our defence will struggle with that. If they can get Mahrez in the channels, if they can get Grealish in the channels, that is a win for
them. Man City didn't start Kevin De Bruyne against Spurs. Like,
even
if they don't go with Haaland, Alvarez still offers us a problem that we can't deal with.
I just think, the only thing...
Like, I'm not even trying to be shady. Like, I'm serious. Like...
Now, but City Liverpool, that's a different kind of vibe to City Spurs.
The thing is this, though, I think it is important to play him. Where it is important to play him is this. If they drop points, there's no Foden, by the way, and listen, no Haaland, no Foden, the goals might be hard to come by for them. Julian Alvarez might score the goals. Maybe he will. But Jack Grealish ain't scoring, in my opinion. Without those guys around him, he needs their penetration. He needs them to be able to do it. He's not going to lead that line by himself. If they don't play Haaland and they drop points, just 1 point, they get a draw. They drop 2 points. You then go and beat Leeds. What are you then? You're 10 points clear.
The title's done.
If you go 10 points clear, and I mean this with respect to you, Jess, the fucking Arsenal game is becoming more and more irrelevant. They have to, every game they have to take seriously because they
It's
can't
3 points for
afford
nothing.
any slip-ups. They can afford 0 slip-ups. And Haaland might not play, and Pep may take that risk. But if he does, he's going to come. I mean, I already think Liverpool are getting a draw anyway, with or without, with Haaland starting or not. I think Liverpool are going to drag. They're going to have one of those performances where you just think, why have you not been? They're going to put one of those performances in where their fans are going to be buzzing, but equally they should be angry. Like after the Man United game, there should have been an element of Liverpool fans that was fuming, and they should have been thinking, where the fuck has this team been all year, you pricks? Like that's how I would treat a performance like that.
Oh.
But that is what you're going to get from Liverpool this weekend. You are going to get, I think, a really good Liverpool team. Why? Because everybody is writing them off. Everybody saying it's done. And this happened. Sorry, let me finish. This happened in the build-up to the Man United game. No way, Liverpool. No way, Liverpool. It'll be United. It'll be United. It's done. Whenever Liverpool gets spoken about like this, they do something. They're getting a draw, 2-2.
I have more faith of Man City dropping points away to Brighton or away to Brentford than I do at home against Liverpool right now. Those are the games I'm looking at, and I'm like, Thomas Frank, can you do something for me? De Zerbi, can you do something for me?
Yeah, I just look at this like Liverpool. Liverpool are clearly the underdogs in this game. I think the only saving grace for Liverpool to try and get a result out of this game is the fact that it is the 12:30. You never bet on the 12:30 game anyway, and the underdogs regularly tend to put up a performance in the 12:30 game. I think that's the only saving grace. And
Tom,
the thing
is this surreal for you?
No,
Sorry,
this happens.
Like you're born with.
This happens. This happens. It's happened enough times already this season. And we're like, look, the Man City game, as we said, Man City were guaranteed to win that game. It's a lunchtime game. Man United, they turn up, they win the game 2-1. They're the underdog. That's what tends to happen. I think that's the only thing that's going to be cooking.
Our record at 12:30s is the most horrific.
It's awful. It's awful, and you haven't beaten. You haven't beaten Man City at the Etihad in the league for 8 years. But records are there to be broken. Things have to give at some point. And if City start the game with a little bit of caution, because look, they have to go out there and win. We all know how they have to do it. They know how to go out there and get titles wrapped up and things like that. But the pressure is on them, more so than it is on Liverpool. If Liverpool don't win this game, there is still an opportunity and there's still a doorway in order to get top 4, because a lot of the teams are playing against each other. Man City, if they drop points, they know that Arsenal have got, it might look like a tough run for a lot of teams, but we've already beaten a lot of these teams in the run-in that we've got to play in the run-in on the way to get to this point. So City, they can't afford for anything to drop. So the pressure is so high on them. It's such a tough game to call, and I do think that Liverpool are able to get some form of result out of it. I genuinely believe it.
I think the momentum and the that City have built up over these last few games, where they steamrolled Burnley in the cup. I know it's just Burnley. They steamrolled Leipzig. They beat Crystal Palace. I just think the momentum they're going to have and the mindset that Pep is going to instill in them, where it's, guys, it is win or nothing. If we do not win this and also win tomorrow, as they probably will, this title is in the bin. So our season literally depends on this game. We're playing against our biggest competitor over the last 5 years, who beat us earlier in the season. It is literally win or nothing. And I think going into that game with that mentality, having a home crowd behind them, I know they're missing Haaland, but Alvarez is a very good replacement. Foden normally plays very well against Liverpool. He's missing, but I just think City will have that little bit too much, and they're going to want it more, plus them being the home side, which makes you think, I just think they'll have too much and they'll get the 3 points.
I also don't think Pep Guardiola's going to try something like he done at Anfield this year, where I think at Anfield was the first instance of that 4-man midfield that we saw, and we just kept cutting it apart because we went in a 4-4-2. We won't change system because we're idiots, so we'll stick in 4-3-3. And I think Pep Guardiola will just play his style of football. He's not going to try and change and chess match it. He's just going to go and play what works. And in a pound-for-pound match at the minute, we are not stopping Man City. We are not doing it.
Yeah,
our midfield, like, I can understand our attack and our counter-attacks could hurt them, but I've never had less confidence in a midfield. And I watched Jay Spear and Jordan Henderson and Steven Gerrard line up in an FA Cup final, and I backed that midfield more to get a result than this one at the minute. That's how diabolical this one is. Like, there's no confidence for me. There's
I
absolutely
think that's
zero.
what it is. It's the midfield. You
Yeah,
have
that's what
nothing
comes
like
out. Liverpool have a good
attacking wise.
defense.
You have
midfield.
like it's not that attack for me has so much like quality and potential. Like they can hurt Man City, but how are you going to get the ball to them? No creativity. I just don't see it. Like I can't see it. Like I want to see it.
Listen, and I get that, and I get that. It just feels to me. I get what Gav was saying there. I know that the 12:30 games for Liverpool have been terrible all year, but they've been the team that's been tipped to win. It's the other way around now, and I just think there's too many people saying impossible, and I don't know, something about that kind of chat that always makes me bet the other way. And I don't think Liverpool will win, but I'm going to give my score prediction on this, and I'm going to go 2-2 in the game. And a big advantage and a big opportunity will be handed to Arsenal to go out there against Leeds, which we're going to be talking about next, I think. This super chat here says Klopp has been jabbing at Arsenal. He'll lose to City. Well, you think he's going to lose on purpose to stop Arsenal winning the league? If he does that, that does prove that the Pep-Klopp rivalry is the worst in Premier League history. Doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Be the worst ever. But score predictions. What are you saying, Jess? What's your score prediction for this game?
3-1 Man City.
Ooh, what are you saying? Nunez will get the consolation. What you saying, Roy?
I think City start well, score once. I think score once more. Liverpool get a consolation, and City see the game out. So 2-1.
Neeks?
If Haaland starts, 3-0. If Haaland doesn't start, 2-1 City.
Gav?
1 apiece. I think it's going to be a draw.
Draw. And young Tommy. What are you going with, Tom?
You know what? Just in case it happens, 2-0 Liverpool.
Yeah, go on, back yourself. Back it.
I'm covering all bases. So if it was to come off, I can sit there and go, guess who called it?
All that negative chat for a Liverpool win.
Yeah, all that, and then he predicts a win anyway. There's some comments here. One said, "Remember, Terry, you predicted Arsenal would beat City at the Emirates. Look what happened. We won 3-1. Yeah, it did. But look, in terms of top 6 clashes, I've only got a handful wrong this year. I got that one wrong, and I got Man United to win 2-1 actually, I got 3 wrong. I got Liverpool. I said United would win 2-1 at Anfield. That went a little bit wrong, and I predicted a 2-2 draw with Arsenal at the Old Trafford. And we won 3-1. But all my other ones have been right, my friend. So the juju works when I say something ridiculous, like 5-0 to Newcastle, or in games. What you see me say during a match on Twitter, don't take it seriously. Think the opposite. Like I say things, but I can't believe you said that. It's like, how long have you been following me? You don't understand. Great. Honestly, these people they give my fucking ass an headache. But there we go. Viewers, hit the like button for us today. Make sure you're subscribing. Scan the QR code above Jessica's head, really, to check out our latest offers with NordVPN, our sponsors of the show today, to protect yourself online, to protect your data. But on top of that, to make sure things like your bandwidth is unlimited. You always got great access to the internet, and it is clean and it is crisp. And you don't get what a lot of our guests sometimes get on this show. Lots of muttering and stuttering, and your lines dropping in and out. A lot of that is created by rival broadband providers messing each other's lines up. VPN providers help stop that. So lots of things available with it. Get it sorted now. It's as cheap as a cup of coffee per month. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Arsenal Leeds, and we are going to have top 4 predictions and title race predictions later in the show, people. So you guys have voted. You were voting for that right now as well, with the top 4 predictions coming after this. But in terms of this game, Jess, how are you feeling about it? Nervous? No Saliba, or look, this is Leeds United. They're right down the bottom. There is open. I was about to say a very rude joke. I'm not going to say that on there, but they're very wide open. They're very, very wide open. Their legs are almost at 9:15. Surely Arsenal, with the quality you've got, are going to beat them.
Well, of course we have the quality to beat them. We should be beating them. This feels like a banana skin to me. I'm seeing way too many Arsenal fans.
What about
No.
Leeds is a banana
Wait.
split?
Hold
No
on.
chest,
You
no
guys,
chest. Ah.
let me finish. If you guys just let me finish, I'm not saying that we're going to lose the game.
That's
What
exactly
I'm
what you're
saying is
saying.
that no, I'm not. No, that's not what I think it's a potential banana skin if the team doesn't take it serious. You guys just let me finish. You guys will get the answers. But I feel like people are looking at this team, Leeds, they're missing key players. It doesn't matter. These teams at the bottom are scrapping. They are scrapping. And they look scary sometimes when you're not up to it. I think that, like, if Arsenal go out there and take care of business, it should be good. But if we go out there and play like we did against Bournemouth, we could struggle. So we're at home. We have all the advantages. Take care of business 2-0 early, finish the game. But I see this being one where you let Leeds into it. You know, you're not all the way up for it, and you could get bopped. So I don't know. With Saliba out, I'm not too worried about it until we get to Anfield. Like, I'm not trying to go to Anfield without Saliba. I think Holding will do fine against Leeds, but it's just about the team being concentrated after this international break. This is where our season broke down last season. Right after this international break was where everything went bad. And so from my perspective, I think that they went to Crystal Palace last season and thought they started reading their press clippings and thought that they were the shit. And they were like, we got this. And then they got handled at Selhurst Park. And it's all about mentality with this team. You can't take anybody lightly. The bottom 5-6 teams are all scrapping for points. So I think we'll win it. But this is not a game that we should be going out there being silly and, you know, giving away the early goal and looking like we think we're that team. Like, we really have to keep it together. So yeah, I think we'll win it, but it's a potential banana skin because these teams that you think can't do anything to you, they will knock you out. Like, I'm telling you, we've been through it. So yeah. But I'm a little bit nervous, but I feel confident that we'll do okay.
I get that. What I would say, I get what you're saying, and I don't mean this to come across rude in any way. All teams are dangerous if you don't turn up and are ready for it and are up for it. But there's just no way for me in this title race, your manager is allowing Arsenal to turn up to a game at the Emirates against Little Leeds United without being fired up, ready from the first whistle. I just don't, as much as they're fighting for their lives, if you were sitting like fifth in the table, I get it, but you're fighting for a title. I think you're going to have more fight, more energy. Yours isn't going to be a nervous energy. I think it's a different energy when you're going for a title compared to trying to stay up. Not that my team's ever been in a relegation fight in my lifetime, but the energy is different. I honestly don't think Arsenal are going to have any real problems. I think you're going to dismantle them like you did Fulham and like you did Crystal Palace. I think it's going to be not an easy game because you've got to work hard, but I think you're winning this by a minimum 2 to 3 clear goals. I think it's going to be by the end of the match, you're going to look back and say formality. The way it's going to be reviewed, you'll see the media, it will be a formality match for Arsenal. Whatever happens in the City game before, I think it's going to be a formality for Arsenal. I think you're going to have the bit between your teeth for this run now. 1 game a week for the next however many weeks. You know what you're doing. It's going to be pretty much the same 11 every game. Yes, Saliba's out injured, but you'll be fine without him. You know, you've got options. You'll be absolutely fine without him for a game or two. More than enough for Leeds. For me, it's 3-0 minimum.
I'm not saying like, you know, it's because it's Leeds or anything like that. I'm just saying that, like, after the international break, having a little bit of time off, I'm just looking for the team to have that same mentality that they had the last couple of games. We've seen that Arsenal team can have mental lapses at certain points. To me, Bournemouth was a mental lapse. We made that hard. What I'm saying is, don't make Leeds hard. Don't. Because just because they don't have their best players and they're going to be missing a couple of guys, Bournemouth were also missing half of their team. They were resting them for the next game, and they still came to the Emirates and played like they could get something. So, and I think it's more from like a fan perspective that I see Arsenal fans just being like, missing this player, it's going to do this and that. It's all about whether or not Arsenal stand up and they have the mentality, despite who Leeds have out. That's what it is, and we should expect them to come out there and play like they did against Fulham and Crystal Palace. But that's my only thing is mentality-wise. Hope they do it.
I hear the mentality bit, but City versus Liverpool being at 12:30 means that you know exactly where you stand before that game. And so City win is 5 points, which means if you drop points, they're going to start breathing down on like a lot more. If City lose that game, Arteta will be saying to the boys, guys, if we win this game, as we should, because we're the better team, we can go 11 points clear. 11 points clear. Yes, City have a game in hand, but a game in hand isn't equal to 3 points in this league. 11 points clear would pretty much dust off any hope City had of retaining the title, barring a miraculous run of form from now to the end of the season, and Arsenal dropping off from what we've seen of them this season so far, which makes me think, I just think you're going to be very much up for this game. Leeds, I think they're missing Nonto and Harrison and Adams and a couple other players. And like Stubb said, if you score early, which I do think you will, the game is done. Like I don't see how Leeds opening up and having to attack you guys doesn't mean they might get a goal, but then I don't see how they get a goal and you don't, which means you still end up winning. So I just think you'll have too much for them. Yes, you are missing Saliba, and I think maybe Tomiyasu as well. I don't think that's enough to destabilize you guys. Like, this is the perfect time to play Leeds because you're playing after City. You've got a huge game. And I just think Arteta will be saying, boys, one step closer. We could go 11 points clear. We could go 9 points clear. We could go 8 points clear again. But I just don't see a world in which you guys drop points. Maybe if it was at Ellen Road, I could understand it, but not at the Emirates. You guys have been too good there this season.
What are you saying, Gav? I mean, are you a similar mindset to Jess? Just like sort of more concerned about there being a lapse in concentration, or are you not really worried about that at all?
I'll just look at the game that we had against them at Ellen Road earlier on the season. I would probably say that is the worst performance that Arsenal put in this season. And we've lost games this year. The fact that we won that game, it was the worst performance. I think that VT will be showing over and over again to say, like, this is what you've done wrong. This is what you've done wrong. We were sloppy as hell in that game. I don't think that Arteta will allow that to happen. I genuinely don't. We can't afford any slip-ups anyway. And we look at certain games that we've got left, and it's like, oh, you're not that you should ever allow to drop points in certain games. But this is a game where you have to look at it and say, I don't care whether you're relegation fodder this season or not. You have to go out there and get a result. On that, they are relegation fodder, meaning that they're going to be hungry and they're going to be up for it. You know, they've picked up results against Chelsea this season. They've put in performances against like United this season. They've put some big games. They've turned up in some half decent games and not been able to get over the line. So, look, I expect a win, and I don't expect anything less, if I'm honest. But if we drop points, I think this is where our season does fall apart. Simple as that, really.
Oh,
really?
That is a big statement.
If we don't get a result against Leeds United this weekend, our season falls apart. Because just say for whatever reason we were to lose this game, City win, 5 points. Go to Anfield next week. We like how Liverpool don't like traveling to the Etihad. Arsenal do not like traveling to Anfield. And then, you know, all the games that we play against teams that are challenging for Europe / title, or teams that are battling relegation. We haven't got any mid-table teams this season. So every game from here is tough. So I expect, as I said, I expect us to win this game, and I genuinely believe I genuinely expect us to win it comfortably. But if we do not get a result of any variety, that is where our season will fall apart.
If City
It's our buffer.
If City beat Liverpool and you lot lose to Leeds, 100% agree. I think it's going to be a long end to the season. Like, it's going to be...
Yeah.
But
that oven goes from 10 degrees to 250.
But bring your dog, bring your kids. It's a walk in the park. Easy 3 points. Easiest 3 points you're going to get all season. I can't see Leeds doing anything at all. The Emirates, like, I hate it. It's just going to be, you don't love it. You don't love that home advantage this season has been brilliant. Arsenal fans, you know, the atmosphere, the players are playing up to the atmosphere. They're feeding off it. The fans, even when you go 1-0 down, the fans are still giving you all the energy. I can't see how it leads. The way that they play, it's not like, I don't know, the way that they play, I think it's just perfect for Arsenal. There's gonna be space. There's gonna be opportunities for them to attack. They're not good enough going forward to actually, for me, they may score one. They're not gonna get, I don't think, much more than that. I expect easy victory, regardless of what the result is between Man City and Liverpool. But if you don't,
Leeds have no threat. I'm sorry, they don't. You have one of the best defenses in the league. I know Saliba's out, which is an impact, but Patrick Bamford wouldn't scare me. They've not got Notto, who was their best player.
Saying.
Somerville, he wouldn't really scare me going up against Zinchenko or Tierney if he needs to play. They're both solid defensively. Rutte, I don't even know who he is. They spent £40 million on him. Don't know if he scored yet. He doesn't scare me. And then you look at their defence. You've got Jesus coming back from injury. You've got Saka. You've got Martinelli, Trossard. You've got Odegaard. You're going up against Meslier, who is due a clanger. I don't even know who is in their defence. You're going up against Robin Koch. His debut was against us and he gave away 2 pens. There's no lower standard than that. There's no reason for you to be afraid of this game.
He's always prone for a cock up. Do you know what I mean? So
Just saying, we should.
I don't get
it should be easy.
I agree with Tom. I don't get your fear, Jess. I don't understand why you're so scared.
It's because it's not you. And anytime your team is playing and I'm like, this is an easy win, you're up on the screen like, oh, God. And then it's like, when it's your team, you think of every scenario that could mess you up. Like, you can think of it and it could be, it's in your head. And I'm like, Somerville will become Leroy Sané against us. Like, I just start thinking about all these things. You know what I mean?
No, I do. I listen. I actually totally get why you're saying what you're saying. I do get it. When it's your team, like none of you are nervous about Man United playing Newcastle, but I am, and obviously they're a much better team than Leeds, and we're away from home. But I do get it. But I agree with Tom. I just don't think you're going to have a problem, even if you concede first. Man United have been nowhere near the right level in recent weeks, and we played them twice in a week. We came from behind to draw 2-2, and then we beat them 2-0 at Ellen Road. You are better than Man United. You're a more cohesive team that understand each other more. Been together with your manager such a long time. You're just not going to have a problem with them. In my personal opinion, I think you'll be okay in this game. I really, really do. And Thomas Partey will play. I know he's been a doubt. I'm sure you'll be. Honestly, I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine in this game. But I want to go back to Gav's point. Do you really think like one dropping of points? So if you beat Leeds but then lose to Liverpool, would that also be the beginning of the end for you? Because what's the difference?
Well, I don't see us going to Anfield and getting anything too shiny. If I'm honest, I'm looking at our running and I'm looking at 2 areas where if we are going to drop points, they could be the areas, and that is away to Liverpool. I want to draw, obviously. I don't want to ever lose a game, but getting a draw at Anfield would be a massive achievement, regardless of where we are right now, because of how badly we travel to Anfield. And this is just simple fact, And then away to City, the last time we picked up a result against them away was Coquelin's debut, and and Santi Cazorla played in a 14-3-1. That was a 2-0. Honestly, that was masterclass. I still get excited about that game, but that game's like 10 years ago now, 10 plus years ago.
But you said like if you drop points against Leeds, you obviously think you're going to get a bad result against Liverpool. Therefore, you're not going to win the league. But if you beat Leeds, but then still go and lose to Liverpool, do you think any defeat before you play City is going to lead to your downfall?
Honestly, like if we can't, I do believe so. Yeah, but as I said, I am confident that we will get a win on Saturday. What I'm trying to say is, if we don't, for whatever reason, that will be the end of that. That will be the end of it. But I'm looking at going to the Emirates on Saturday and being like, right, okay, let's smash them. It might be 3-0. It might be 3-0 after 20 minutes, and the game finishes 3-0, and we could just take it easy, start like taking man off and getting ready, like getting wrapped in cotton wool, ready for the Sunday after that. But nah, I'm just a dickhead.
I feel like what I saw on like when people were doing the math or whatever, like if Man City win all their games out, we can only lose 2 or something like that, and like still like win the league. Anything over that, like that is a very small room for like that's very small. Like, and we know that City can go out there and win every single game from now until the end of the season. So Leeds, you have to win it. You cannot, because we're gonna go to Anfield and we're not getting shit. Like we're just, it's not happening.
You still have so
So
much
that's
more
one.
confidence in Liverpool than I do.
So that's one. That's one loss right there.
See, Jess, I don't think you believe that. I don't think you believe that. I think you're saying we're not going to get nothing as a way of putting that judge out into the atmosphere. I think you believe deep down inside, if you're all alone in a room and in a nice little quiet corner, I think you believe you can get something against this Liverpool team at Anfield.
No,
I believe you can. I believe
No,
you.
I
if this is
literally
at our place-
every season I mark Anfield as a loss. Like it's
Not
just
this Liverpool team, not with this team and their defense and their high line.
We've seen some bad Liverpool teams over the last 20 years, and we still struggle to go up there. At our place, whether it be at Highbury or at the Emirates, in the last 20 years, I feel happy enough and confident about beating anybody before a match starts.
I
if
get
I'm
that.
honest,
I
but
think
like away,
I
there's certain grounds.
now.
Look,
I think you're different.
even
now.
Old Trafford.
You're different.
Even Old Trafford. Like we've never scored more than 2 goals at Old Trafford in a league game before. In the Premier League,
know that. That's a great stat.
Wow,
in the
that
Premier
is
League
not
era.
what I expected.
Oh,
Yeah,
more.
do you know what I mean? So like at our place, I trust us to beat Man United every time when you come to the Emirates or when you came to Highbury. But when we go to Old Trafford, only twice, off the top of my head, only 3 times have we ever scored at least 2 goals at your place, and 2 of those were in defeats.
Yeah, one was the 8-2.
One was 8-2. One was Rashford's Premier League debut,
3-2.
and there was another one. Prior as well. I think it was like a 2 or draw or something. Anytime we beat you there, it's been 1-0 in the league.
Igal here says
You know.
Arsenal will get 92 points with 7 wins, 2 draws, and 1 defeat. Is what Igal predicts to.
Well, who do Arsenal still have to play? Because I know they got to play us now. They've got to play
Brighton,
City.
Newcastle, Chelsea, Wolves, Villa,
Brighton.
not Villa.
West Ham.
Forest.
West Ham.
Forest away.
Yeah, Wolves.
I mean, it's
last
not
Forest.
an easy running. I think you see what it is. I think Arsenal's obviously you've got this gap, and I think having that gap, considering Man City's form, is what I think may see you over the line, because that running ain't easy. Like I can easily see you dropping points against Liverpool. I can see you dropping points. Well, basically all those big the Newcastle, those results can happen, but for you to be caught when you drop those points, Man City need to win, and they haven't done that all season. Not saying they can't, but it's like, all right, by the time they get into that motion, it might be too late. It just might be too late.
Neeks,
What I'll say
that's what I mean.
is
The teams that we're playing, us.
So you might win the league with 89 points. You might not even get 92.
Might do, but like the number of points, I don't care as long as we're on top of the tree at the end of the season. Like, so like.
No one cares what it looks like.
If all the teams that we have to play that aren't fighting for Europe are fighting for relegation, so that's what I mean. We're not playing against a team that are, apart from Chelsea. Chelsea is the only team that we are playing that are not fighting for Europe and are not fighting relegation.
This is the thing. We've kind of organically gone into a conversation about winning the title now, and we do predictions before the season, end of the window, and typically we do predictions again after this final international break. The question is, and I think Neeks sort of spoke about it like very, very well, and there's a super chat here from Tevin that says, Jess, our room for error is small, but theirs is smaller. If City do win this weekend, it'll be the first time all season they've won 4 league games on the bounce. They've not won more than 3 league games on the bounce all season. So they could break that now and at this point, which would be a negative sign for Arsenal. But even if you guys drop points, I honestly agree with Neeks. I do not see City winning 10, 11 games on the bounce. I just don't see it. They've not been. Yes, they battered Leipzig and they battered Burnley, but their last league game, they struggled. Like, again, I think they're 2 brilliant wins, but I think we're over-indexing them and we're not remembering how hard the Premier League is. There have been some inconsistencies in City's play, and they're going to create some openings for Arsenal. I think it's whether Arsenal can walk through those doors for me. And I'm still I don't know about you lot, but I'm still predicting Arsenal to win the league. I don't think they're going to fail. I think they're going to do it. And I think they'll beat Leeds this weekend. And I actually think they'll beat Liverpool as well. They will drop points, Arsenal, in this run-in. I do not believe you're winning 10 on the bounce in the run-in. But what are you saying, Jess? Are you still confident? Because you've sat on here a few times, we're going to win the league. You're not sounding so confident right now. You're worried about Leeds, worried about Liverpool, predicting City to win easy. Like, are you still going to win the league, Jess?
I think we're going to have one really big result that people don't think we're going to get. And that's going to be the game that takes us over the line. So
what game is that?
I don't think we'll be. I think we're going to get a really big result at Man City. I think that's where it's going to be.
So you're going to win?
I think. Yeah, I think so.
Yes, Jess.
There-
You're in.
there
bed.
has-
You're not being.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
Strike it
The
off.
thing is-
Strike it off
That's
again.
the-
Strike it off
That's
now.
the definition of a statement win.
That
If
is
you win at the Etihad,
mad.
that is a
If
statement
you beat
win.
Man City at Etihad, you deserve next season's title as well. I'm telling you that right now.
The reason why I say that is because I do feel like if I had to say which place we go to and we have more of a chance of winning, I would say it's the Etihad over Anfield. For something that has some sort of juju over us, and we have to have at least one big win, And I'm just gonna back my team to do something at the Etihad. If we don't win, we'll get a draw. We're not losing. And that's gonna be the one. There has to be a point in the season for me where Man City start looking at the Champions League and start saying, you know what, that might be what we need to be looking at.
They might not be.
And I think,
This Haaland 27th minute hat trick is going to hit different,
So yeah, but
It would be crazy though, because Arsenal's been very consistent this season. But I hear what you're saying, in that can Arsenal win the league without having that statement win? Like, I guess every result for Arsenal is a statement win because no one's expecting them to do it. But it's like, it's those
you need
when
it.
you have a title race, it's like that was the game. When Man City beat Liverpool, when the ball, 2-1 Sane, and the ball was 1 millimeter from crossing the line, that was the game. When Man City beat Man United, Company scores a last minute header. That was the game. Can Arsenal go through it, lose at the Anfield, lose at the Etihad, and still win the league?
No, you have no. You
Generally, no. But generally, no. But the
you
way
have
that
to.
Man City's been playing, it's like you might just be able to do it.
Yeah,
You might be able to beat everyone else. Just beat everyone else.
You have to. There has to be a moment, I think, where Man City start to look at the league and start saying, "This is not for us." I still think they think it's for them.
I don't think they've got that Jordan in
I
their
think
brain. They want to beat Man United's record.
I think every team has it. They know that they need to win the Champions League. If we get a result at the Etihad and we're still well ahead, I think that's when they'll start to pivot. So whether it's a win or a draw, we're going to get something at the Etihad.
But Jess,
we're not going to get it at Anfield though.
Man City could still win a treble right now.
City might not be in the Champions League by the time they face you guys.
No, they will. They will.
If Bayern Munich knock them out,
they're going to beat Bayern. They're going to beat Bayern, you guys.
Tuchel, Bayern Munich.
I know that it's Tuchel.
I don't know.
And he's going to play a 3-4-3. I get it, but no. Man City are so focused on the Champions League. They have Haaland. I don't see Bayern Munich they have Haaland for the Champions League. That's why they got him. They'll still be in it. They're going to get to the final.
Bayern have got 100% record in the Champions League this season. I don't think they want to give that up anytime soon. That is going to be the tie of the round. I genuinely believe that. The thing with Tuchel knows how to act and how to go around business in the Champions League. He got to, he obviously got to the final, didn't he? And lost in the final.
Are we looking at Bayern?
And then he won it the following season.
Sorry, say that again because you're talking over each other. What did you say, Jay?
Sorry, I'm saying that I know that they have 100% record, but when you're watching Bayern Munich, are you seeing the same Bayern Munich that you've seen over the last?
Jess,
I'm not.
I don't know.
But I'm seeing
in the Champions League.
Yeah,
yes,
they had Bayern
in the league.
In the league, they've been a bit sketchy.
In the league, not so much.
League, they had Barcelona in the group, smacked them 5-0 on aggregate. They had Inter Milan in their group, smacked them 5-0 on aggregate. In the Champions League, they are serious. They are serious.
Okay.
I'm not saying that to make you change your opinion.
And they've had a lot of injury as well.
I agree with Jess. Man City will knock out Bayern Munich. Man City are better than Bayern Munich. They just are.
I think
Yeah,
City
but
are
that
better.
doesn't mean
I think
anything.
Bayern
That
are going
doesn't
to
mean
do a job.
anything in the Champions League, Terry. Come on,
Yeah,
Chelsea. won.
yeah, I
Whoa,
know.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
I
whoa. That's the third spray I've bought today.
I know
What's
it may
going
not
on?
mean nothing. So if based on that logic, we're saying that the underdogs will win then in Bayern Munich.
But
I think Bayern will
I'm
win
just saying that Bayern Munich are more than Man City being better than Bayern Munich for me isn't evidence that they're going to win the game.
Yeah.
No, I
That's what I'm
understand
saying.
that.
You
I
said they're better
understand
than them.
that.
they're gonna
And
win.
I listen. I know that Bayern Munich can beat them in the Champions League. Anybody can beat anyone, but I think Man City will go through. I think City or Napoli, one of those two teams are winning it this year. It's going to be one of those two teams. So everybody else, to a degree, I'm writing off because I believe it's going to be one of those two teams that wins it. So I'm not writing them off in the
And that's
way. I just think
and
it's one of
that's
those
their
two teams.
and that's their like, to me, that's their, I feel like if they have a priority, that's their priority. And that's why all I'm saying is if we were to get a result at the Etihad and we're still ahead of them, I think that's when it'll start to be like, okay,
Someone here
focus a little bit more over there. That's
do
all.
you know what I find really funny? City fans always have a go at me for like being biased, and now everyone else, because I agree with Jess, is like, you're just agreeing with Jess. So what am I, biased? I'll just agree with her. We didn't agree on the Liverpool Arsenal thing, but why do I think City? Because they have the best goal scorer at his age in the history of European football. There has never been a striker at 22 that scores like Haaland. There's never been a player in the history of our game who has scored in European football like Haaland. He's not better technically, but this man in the Champions League is at his age, and I'd say overall right now, he's better than Messi, Ronaldo, R9 at scoring goals at his age. None of them came close. He's eclipsed Mbappe's record in the Champions League in terms of scoring goals. And you mix that into the Pep Guardiola system, and I look back at all the years where they've lost the final or lost the quarters or lost the semi. What they didn't have was a cold-hearted killer. And now what they have is a killer. And I just think there's something about the Champions League. I really do think it's City's year. I really do think it's their year. I don't want it to be. I don't want them winning it. I want City to have 0. But that's why I predict them. Haaland will be the difference for them.
Do you know what, though? I don't think we've discussed the idea of, yes, it's not the same manager for Bayern. It's not Nagelsmann who got 8 out of 8. But this is a manager who's got a very good record against Pep Guardiola when they've matched up. And I think this is a real potential issue for Man City in the fact that they'll have very little evidence to go off how Thomas Tuchel is going to want this Bayern Munich side to line up. So then that opens up the door to Pep Guardiola trying to predict it beforehand, which he seems to do a lot in these cup competitions. And if he gets that wrong, Bayern Munich will hate them. Bayern Munich still have the players to massively hate Man City if the opportunity presents itself. So if there is a world where Thomas Tuchel comes in and throws a curveball that Pep Guardiola wasn't expecting, and he overthinks it almost, and tries to commit to stopping it, and it goes wrong, he's misinterpreted it, and Bayern Munich kill him in the first leg.
And this is what he does it every season. And when it gets to a point where it's like, right, City are about to go on and win the Champions League. It is now their time to do it under Pep. And then he always does something stupid in the game. Look at the one against Leon a couple of years ago.
But he doesn't have to do that now. He doesn't have to do that this time.
He didn't have to do it before. He's never had to do it before. But he's like, we're in the semi-final of the Champions League. Let me just try and think of something.
I understand that, but this is why the Haaland effect is different. And I know some people saying, are you serious? He's not better than R9. He's not better than Messi. At goal scoring, if you can show me that after 30 games, that those, I think he probably has more goals after 30 games than R9 and Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo combined. He is better at this stage of his career in this tournament. And that is the difference in knockout football. City could have a stinker and this man could score a hat-trick. And it's knockout football. It's different from league football where you can just sit back and play a low block and nullify a team. Teams have to attack at some point in knockout football. They have to. It's different. And I just think he's the difference maker. And I know we're kind of going off the title race talk, but that's why I think it. And if you think that, again, if you misunderstood, I'm not saying he's a better technical footballer than Messi or R9 or Cristiano Ronaldo. In terms of goals in the Champions League at this point, he's better than all of them. That is not an opinion. As someone here very kindly said, I actually agree with your take on Haaland's stats. I'm going to be really polite here. You have to agree with me because they're a fact.
It's factual.
You can't. There's no debate here on it. If you don't like it, that's just your feelings.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Yeah, and with my points about numbers, he's the goal scorer. Like, he's nowhere near as good a technically gifted as an R9. He doesn't even probably register on the same in the same category as an R9 technically. He doesn't. He's nowhere near him in terms of overall ability, but that isn't what wins you games sometimes when you've got all the ability in other players. I'm going to go to some of these super chats real quick. This one says, maybe mad, but this City team is a cup team.
Well, as Gav said earlier, they're in free.
I don't see that.
What he did, but what Pep has done is he's created a way for them to play to be better in cups. Like Man City have been a perfect league team.
Yeah.
The way that they play
The
can beat anybody in the Premier League every week, week in and week out. But in cup football, you need something like a little bit different. And that's where Tuchel kind of has been like that guy a little bit. Having Haaland is just a cheat code.
Yeah.
You just have to get him the ball. You don't have to have 3 little technical forwards switching position. No, just kick it to Haaland and let him
Cups are won on moments. Cups are won on moments. Leagues are won on the consistency in it. And when you got someone like Haaland, that moment is never far away.
I think that's why I can't say City are a cup team though, because I think Pep's style of football, the way Pep's team set up, they are too consistent to be a cup team. You know how they're going to play. You know exactly how they're going to do it. There's not enough sort of unknown aspects almost in this Pep team. There's not really a time where they go, you know what, go and do this, or go and free run it for 10 minutes, see what you can do. It's very meticulous and it works. But in cup competitions where it's one-on moments, where it's the most unpredictable style of football, I don't think it works. They can lose one-off games in the league and their consistency will carry them through. They can't afford really to lose these games in cup competitions. That's why I don't think it necessarily works as well in cup football.
I hear that. Some more super chats here. The first one says, every time Terry guarantees an Arsenal beatdown, we either lose or drop points or get knocked out of a comp. It's not really true, though, is it? I've predicted.
It can't be that often, then, isn't it? Because
yeah, exactly.
He predicts us to win almost every single game. So.
Yeah, so he's bound to get it wrong.
Have you not won nearly every single game in the league this year? The only time I didn't predict you to win was away at Man United, and I predicted you to beat City at home. And I think the other time I predicted you not to win, there was one other game where I predicted you not to win. I think away at Spurs, actually, I thought you'd draw, but most of the time I've been right. But there we go. Thank you very much for the super chat, bro. This here says bidding result out tomorrow, apparently. Yeah, we will see about the Man United side of things. We'll be doing some content on that tomorrow. I bet a poll of chat would say City on the title. Yeah, they probably would. Tevin here says, here goes Neeks again. We can't win at City. Bring me back to his guitar attitude.
You ain't beating City at the Etihad.
I cannot see that. I can't see that. I'm sorry.
But you know what? I want to say on that quickly, because I just did a quick research while you lot were babbling on. And 2009 was the last time, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but it was quick research. 2009 was the last time that a league champion lost both of their games to the second place team, Man United. We lost 2-0 at Anfield and then 4-1 at Old Trafford, and we still won the league. Every other champion has that. Go on.
2016.
Leicester beat. Oh,
Leicester. We did the double over Leicester. Leicester
you know what?
Yeah, however,
I didn't check it. I checked the Spurs result. That's why.
That's the exception,
right? That's what I'm about to say, though. No, but you're right, though. You're right. Arsenal came second, but we're never in the title race. Spurs just collapsed so badly when they lost the title race that you guys kind of overtook them. So Neeks is right still.
But the point I was going to say is, because I know
you can't lose to them twice.
What I was going to say is, technically, yes, it's been done. You could lose to them and still win the league. But you're right. The odds suggest that if you're going to win the league title, you need to get a result against your title rival, which means that maybe you do get a draw. Maybe you do get a draw there.
Maybe.
We're going to get something, and you're going to be on the reaction. I need you.
We'll get him there. The poll right now, 80% of the vote says Arsenal's going to win the league. That's 80% of the vote right now has said that. Tevin also came back here and said, again, that's not me saying we can relax, but what I'm saying is we are allowed to be quietly
confident. Don't backtrack now, Tevin. Don't backtrack
now. If City lose to Bayern and Arsenal in the same week, what happens to City's season? Well, it ends.
It's done.
Well, it might still be in the FA Cup, but then United beat him in the final. Do you know what I mean? I don't want a Manchester derby final, to be fair. United versus United is what we want in that final.
I don't think United get into the final.
No, maybe
Yeah,
not.
I think Brighton are doing that. I think it's Brighton City, man.
I love being the underdog in it. Thanks, boys. I like that. I like that. What you're saying there. In terms of the top four as well, we had about a chat about the top, who's winning the league, that the poll's running on that right now. In terms of top four, we've kind of predicted some of the games tonight: Liverpool, Spurs, Newcastle, Man United. Really big matches this weekend for the top four race. Who's making those last two places, Neeks? I'll come to you first. Who do you think's actually going to see it through?
I think Man United will see it through. Even if we lose to Newcastle on Sunday, I just don't trust Liverpool and Spurs, and even Newcastle to be consistent enough to the end of the season to knock us out of it. I already said I think Spurs will probably drop points to Everton. I also think Liverpool will probably drop points to Man City. So us losing that game will put Newcastle above us on goal difference, I believe it is, and then there's still a long season to go. So I'll have Man United in there. That last place is tough. It's really tough. I said Liverpool a few weeks ago. That was before the 7-0 actually. And then they won 7-0. I was like, that's why I said Liverpool. And then they lost to Bournemouth and I was like, oh, maybe not. But I'll stick with Liverpool. I think it's so inconsistent with everything that's happening at Spurs. I think Liverpool, even if they lose to Man City on Saturday, I think the firepower they have, they can win enough games. And those 3 points that you get as opposed to 1 point for keeping the team out and drawing, that can be the difference. So I'm still going to go Liverpool and Man United. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Liverpool. I don't want Liverpool to get top four. I want Liverpool in Europa League next season. Beautiful. With Bellingham, have him. I don't care.
What about yourself, Roy? Newcastle, Man United, and Liverpool all on 26 games, remember. Brighton on 25. But Spurs, though, they're in fourth, but they played 28 games. So everyone else has got 2 to 3 games in hand over them. Who's making top four?
I think Man United definitely make it. I think they'll have enough in the tank to, I think, secure third, and even with a less than satisfactory end to the season because maybe they're focusing on other things, still get fourth. And this is going to be a bit of a curveball, but I think Brighton are going to make top four. I think
I'm with you.
What Roberto De Zerbi's doing is going massively under the radar. Like that 4-2-3-1 he's got going on. They're not just playing good football, they're dominating teams. Like they've got a vice grip of possession. They're free scoring. They beat West Ham 4-0. Who else have they beaten recently? They beat Liverpool 3-0. They won at Old Trafford. They drew at Anfield. Like they've got a lot of big results. And now De Zerbi's found his system, because at first he was sort of relying on Potter ball a bit, and then he switched to the 4-2-3-1, and they've been actually getting very good results under the radar. And Brighton have only played 25 games as well. So I think they're going to shock people, and I think Brighton are going to get that fourth spot. Whether that means he stays, because obviously clubs are going to be looking at him. If he gets on top four, clubs are going to be all over.
Sorry, which clubs?
I think Tottenham will definitely be looking at him. I think.
Why would he leave to join Tottenham?
Wait, no, one second. You figure you're going to say Chelsea? You're hosting.
I think no. Despite the Brighton,
you're realizing that
despite the Brighton
PTSD special there.
Despite the Brighton PTSD, if De Zerbi gets to score top four, he would have managed 32 games. If De Zerbi gets in top four, we will be thinking maybe we made the wrong choice.
Right.
And then I
think it's already obvious. De Zerbi has them scoring
goals.
Oh
yeah, 100%.
Potter couldn't get them to score any goals.
Potter is here for life.
No, he's not. I'm telling you, he's not.
He signed a 5-year contract. You've brought you've got half the Brighton backroom staff in your club now.
Nah,
they're not going to blow it up after the year. They're going to give him time.
I think they spent about £3.4 billion on him in the window. £3.4 billion they've spent. It's crazy.
I think Brighton make it.
Wow.
And if they don't, Brighton are 100% getting Europe. They're not finishing below 6.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
100% Europe.
And again, the Europa League places might get pushed down further depending. Look, Man United win the Europa League. That changed. Man United win the Europa League and come third. Is there another Europa League spot that opens up?
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, there could be that element.
Yeah,
is it a Champions League spot?
Then
no,
it's capped at 5. You can't get 6. So if United win the Europa League, and
come
we win the
fifth.
Champions League, we don't get 6. It's capped at 5.
Yeah.
No. If Man United win the Europa League and come third, it's just still the 4 that enter. But Man United will also be seeded in the Champions League group for next season. So then, like the team in 7th place will get a Conference League place, and then 5th and 6th will get Europa League.
So if, for instance, Chelsea won the Champions League and United won the Europa League, but neither of us finished inside the top 4, then the 4th place team would miss out.
That's right.
That's right. I know I wouldn't want to risk it because you never know with finals, but how amazing would that be? Liverpool scrape top 4, they get the 4th position, and then Man United and Chelsea in the Champions League and Europa League, and they miss.
I think it'd be much better if it was Tottenham, so they have to do it all again because they've done it in 2012.
Yeah, that would be more fun.
I want them to go through the exact same pain again.
Not for us. It'd be watching you lot cry about it would be the hilarious bit, bro. Do you know what I mean?
I think if Brighton beat Man United in the FA Cup semi, I could be slightly wrong. I think they're guaranteed European football because the winners of the FA Cup means that it goes down to 6th place, unless the finalists are not in Europe as well. I think that's how it.
The runners up don't get it anymore.
Oh, the runners up anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. No, because remember Hull missed out.
Okay.
That was the first season. That was the first season it happened.
If City win it, the position's going to go down in the league, isn't it?
And then Brighton will get it.
Yeah. They've got such a good chance, you know. And then if Man United win it and they're in 4th, they're going to end up it's going to end up going down to like 5th, 6th, and 7th potentially.
Maybe even 8th, and we could grab a spot in Europe. Who knows, man?
If everybody keeps winning, maybe. But in terms of finishing in the top 4, though, who are you going with, Jess? Like, who are your picks to do it? Who are your 2 teams to do it?
Sorry, I'm just looking down at the table.
No looking down at the table, not looking down at the table.
You guys can't see it, but I am looking at the table.
The cookies to see Chelsea.
Because I think from the beginning, I always thought that Liverpool were going to make it, but now I'm starting to lose faith. I really don't think y'all are going to make it now. You needed to beat Bournemouth. So I'm going to go with Newcastle and Man United to get the last 2 spots. Tottenham have already played those 28 games, and I just think Newcastle, they look like they've gotten more life again that they had at the beginning of the season, dropping Callum Wilson. Why did that take so long? I don't get it. So yeah, Newcastle and Man United get those last 2 spots. Tottenham misses out. I would love to see both Liverpool and Tottenham in the Europa League. Like, I would like to see that for both of them. Like, Virgil van Dijk in Europa League, like Salah potentially in Europa League, he'll leave you before that. But just the idea of it, that's amazing. I would love to see that. I would live for it.
I've got nothing against Tottenham other than some of their arrogant fans just popped up recently. Like, where have you been? Like, from 31 years old, you've never existed, but fair enough. And I don't have a problem with them getting top 4, but other than Harry Kane, I need Harry Kane at Man United next summer. If you could say, all right, Spurs, you're going to get top 4, but Kane's going to join Man United, I say fair enough. I'm cool with that because I'd rather Spurs get it than Newcastle. Because Spurs are not a threat. Wherever Spurs are in the league, they're not a threat. They can have Champions League football till the cows come home and they're not winning anything. Newcastle, however, if they get top 4 this season, that process that I thought might take X amount of years, it's going to be sped up overnight. And I'm like,
there's nothing we can do about it, guys.
Slow it down.
They're here now.
The thing about it,
it was like when
United. Sorry. Just put the brakes on Newcastle.
No, it was like when Spurs stopped Man City getting that Champions League place, the Peter Crouch moment. That slowed them down, like from dominating like they are, just a little bit longer. It just, and every little bit helps. I mean, as a United fan with our new owners coming in, I'm not that worried, but Spurs fans should be more concerned than anybody else. Sorry, Jess, go on.
And I also like because I know what maybe Liverpool and Spurs would prefer if they're not going to be in Champions League to be out of Europe completely. I want you to suffer in the Europa League.
I want them in it.
I want Conference League.
I want you in it.
If we're not in Champions League, I want Conference League. I want to be the most shameless person in the world, so I can sit there and go, my club's the only club to ever win all 3
That's
European
exactly
trophies.
what I want, Tom. Give me.
I just want that shamelessness. I'd sooner do that.
You know what I like?
Europa League.
You know what I can't wait to see, because I've got so many of some of yours, and especially a lot of the the Hussams and everybody else. I've got all the screenshots saved of the Mickey Mouse comments about trophies and everything else. I can't wait to every time you celebrate a win in one of those tournaments, all your hypocrisy is going to be shared with 312,000 people on a regular basis. Shameless setting. Do you know what I mean? I can't wait. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna be brilliant. But yeah, look, I don't know. Man United are making it, as far as I'm concerned. I think we're going to bounce back after that poor form leading up to the international break, which still saw us win the majority of our games. Of course, though, we're still fighting on 3 fronts, so it's a little bit harder for us than it is Newcastle, Liverpool, Spurs, who are playing just for the top 4. But I want that test. I'm not a United. Some United fans are a bit frustrated by it, but for me, I believe with the investment we're getting at the club, the players will buy in the summer, we will challenge for the Premier League next year, and I think we'll challenge for. We won't win the Champions League next year, but we'll be good enough to put in a good showing. And this is how you create a great team. You have to be fighting on all 4 fronts. You have to create. The players have to learn what it's like to play twice a week for the majority of the season. That's what great teams in the history of football have done, and that's what I want my club to aspire to. So we can manage that and get a 3rd place and grab 1 more trophy. What a phenomenal season it'll be for us. 4th place, I'm still got an inclination to say Liverpool, but the problem is with my prediction is the next 3 games. City, Chelsea, Arsenal. They win 2 of those games, I think they'll make it. They walk away with 1 point or no points, which is conceivable because it's all in the space of a week. Their season is done, and they can just listen. They can go away on holiday with their bottle of 7-Up and just cry for the whole summer. I can't wait. But that's what I hope happens. I hope you lose all 3 games and then you ride off into the sunset with your 7-Up and your diabetes after drinking so much of it. And you have that 1 win as your little keepsake for the season. But deep down inside, you're crying. Like bullies. Bullies in life, they're really sad inside. That's what you guys will be like. You'll be giving it the big and online about 7-0. But deep down inside, you'll be crying. You'll be fuming. You're going to hate the summer. And I can't wait to see it. But
I need some more critical analysis from Ruud Gullit and Marco van Basten on Van Dijk. That's what I'm doing.
Oh! Oh my god. Listen, someone says 7-0 broke me. Trust me, losing the semi-final to Brighton will hurt me more than the 7-0.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's more tangible. Not making the top 4 would hurt me more than. Listen, if you could give me 2 or 3 major trophies every season and Champions League finishing, and I have to lose badly to Liverpool every year, I'd probably take it. Because we're winning trophies and you're getting nothing. Listen, my bro, you'd swap with me in a heartbeat, my brother. You really, really would. Like everything in my life. I know you'd swap it with me, OG7. I know you would. You'd swap every element of my life for yours in a heartbeat. Would love to see HH coverage of the Conference League in a windy back alley of a supermarket in Sweden. He's got David T says here. I have hope. Yeah, speaking fluent Conference League.
Yeah.
Great. Fluent Conference League. The 7-Up is our trophy. We will celebrate it, Terry. It's true. It is your trophy this year, my friend. It is your trophy. What are you saying, Tom? Do you think you can make it? Are you confident or not at all?
We can make it. I have 0 confidence in this team. We can make it. If we make it, we probably don't deserve it, but we've capitalised on other teams being bad. I do think Brighton are the best place to get it. I do think Brighton have the best run of form. They've got the most confidence. They've got the best of shape. They've got more games in hand and everything. I really don't think Tottenham are going to do anything. God forbid Ryan Mason tries to tactically outclass any Premier League manager he's coming up against. Jesus Christ. Newcastle, I don't know about their consistency. I think they can blow hot and blow cold. I'll back us, but I'm not confident on it. I'm not 100% confident on it because I can see us, realistically, losing City. We could probably get results against Chelsea because you are just worse than us. You stink. Like, you're that bad. And then Arsenal.
I don't see any Chelsea down here, by the way, and I'm catching crazy strays.
Arsenal, that could go either way. Arsenal. Beyond that, we've got a relatively decent running. It's just these next 3 games, and if we can get 6 points out of them, then yeah, I back us. And it's also to do with the return of like Diaz and Thiago will be coming back soon. Fingers crossed they can stay fit till the end of the season, so I don't have to watch certain man play midfield for us. If the injured players come back and
Curtis
they stay
Jones,
fit, we get it. Curtis Jones doesn't even play. It's Henderson. I can't put myself through more Jordan Henderson. It's like, do you know how bad it is? I actually sat there and said James Milner's technically better than Henderson, but James Milner's the type of person to throw his whole body into a body feint. Like, you know, there's supposed to be little subtle things, and then you blow past. James Milner commits full body, nearly trips over. The defender goes with him because he went full body and somehow gets past him. Jordan Henderson's worse than that. Jordan Henderson cannot play. The thing is with Henderson, he can't open up his body to play a pass. That's what I've realised. He can't open up his body to pass, so it always goes backwards.
But it's
He's not even that old. He's younger than me.
He's old for a footballer. Do you know what I mean?
He's not very mobile.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you a question about him, actually, because Dom Hassam said in the week that Jordan Henderson was not pivotal in any way, shape, or form to your title-winning season or your Champions League win.
He's a better captain than Steven Gerrard.
See, look, why are we going from one extreme to the other?
Let's not do a silly, like let's keep it like reasonable.
I'm being deadly serious.
No. Was he pivotal, though, in the team, Tom?
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the game that we lost to lose the Invincibles run, we had one player out injured, and it was Henderson. And Adam Lallana came in and absolutely stunk the game up.
That's why I'm asking, because I remember when he missed games in that period, and
we were awful.
You guys weren't as good without him. And the reason I bring it up is because Hassam said that Scholes was average at United because he never won Player of the Year. But of course, Jordan Henderson had never won Player of the Year. As far as I'm aware, he hadn't won your Player of the Year award. And I wondered whether he was pivotal. And
he won it in like 2014, I think.
Yeah, I said in like the Klopp era when you were winning things, though. Like, do you know what I mean? In the era when you were winning.
Did he win it in that year that we won the title? I think he did. But like,
no,
he got
he did.
Didn't
He got one of the major awards because he was able to shout and run around. Like when we say Henderson was pivotal, it weren't because he was good. So, you know, he weren't this all action midfielder who was getting all the goals and all.
Yeah, but it's not really right.
He was just there. He was a presence that we need.
I even think that's disrespectful. Like he was so important to your team as a captain and as a leader and as the engine room. In terms of Player of the Year, since Klopp's been there, Coutinho, Mane, Salah, Van Dijk, Henderson came second. He
won the FWA.
He won the fans player.
And he won the FWA Football Writers.
Yeah, Football Writers.
There we did. Cool.
I don't think the problem is not Henderson. It's the fact that like the players, like you have to have other players doing the other stuff. He's still doing the same things he was doing, running around.
Is it?
You know, being the engine. I think so, to a lesser degree.
Henderson is not doing that anymore.
But this is how desperate Liverpool fans are. You just compared Scholes to Henderson. No, I didn't. I'm comparing the point that just because he didn't win the player of the year award at the club doesn't mean he wasn't pivotal to your football club. Scholes is clear. You know, Busquets has never won Player of the Year at Barcelona, as far as I'm aware. That doesn't mean that Jordan Henderson is better than him. It's a ridiculous notion. So, yeah, you've really ruined yourself.
The thing is with Henderson now, it's like what he used to do that was important. No, it's not what he used to do that was important. He doesn't do it anymore. Like, and you can tell that he's trying to, but he's a step behind, and it hurts us more than it helps us because you can't afford to be a step behind on it. Like, he closes down the door.
Why aren't you guys mad at Thiago? Like, that's what he is like. What is the energy?
I've got no issue with Thiago. I've got no issue with him because we bought one of the best deep line playmakers in the last 10 years. We brought him in, we sat him down and we went, look, here's Danny Drinkwater from 15-16. Go copy him, run round, tackle. Don't do any of your strengths. Just effectively become a workhorse. Why would you buy someone to completely nullify their skill set and do something else? I've got no issue with Thiago on that front. The players I've got issues with are Henderson, Fabinho.
You don't have an issue with his injuries?
An issue with Fabinho?
The fact that he's never
Fabinho's legs have gone.
Where are your issues with Fabinho? Like, Henderson has limits. He has limits, and those limits are what they are. But the players, if you gave him the same midfield that he had from before, a Fabinho that didn't act like he was 40 years old, and just another technical midfielder,
Fabinho acts like he's 40 years. Fabinho
Yeah,
acts like he's 40
the thing
years
is,
old because Henderson's not as good.
But Jordan Henderson's an easy target. That's what it comes down to. He's an easy one. Liverpool fans want to make sure there's no talk of he's been a better Premier League captain than Steven Gerrard, so they attack him on that front. That's part of it. And secondly, like players like Thiago are considered like maybe not legends of football, but they're kind of cultured players. They have a big backing. Everyone loves them because they're techie. They're harder players to attack online. Henderson's a very easy target when, in fact, over your most successful period in 30 years, which doesn't include the Jamie Carragher's and Hippiers and Suarez's and Michael Owens and Robbie Fowler's and McManamans, he was your best. He's been your best captain in the Premier League era. He's led you to more trophies than anybody since your golden era. And the lack of respect you guys show Jordan Henderson is crazy. And my point in terms of the example that Hussam gave is just because a player isn't voted your player of the year, whether they get fans player. I do think Scholes won a player of the year award back in the 90s before. But just because someone isn't voted your best player doesn't mean they're not pivotal for you. And I do think that's where like Henderson gets disrespected. He has never been your best player, but he's been a pivotal member of your team.
I don't see how I would disrespect. I don't see how I would disrespect them now though, because I'm not saying that Henderson wasn't good. Hassan might say it, and that's him.
No, but
I will say that Henderson was good years ago, but right now he's not.
I hear what you're saying, but then that's where your criticism should, and you do it more than others, but the criticism should be on your manager for keep playing him. But you get the likes of Sam, a lot of people, they do not want to criticize Klopp, so they have a go at Henderson. Henderson's doing what the manager's telling him to do. Players aren't going to walk away from playing at the highest level if they don't have to. It's on your manager for playing him. He isn't the guy that he was. But I do think the way some Liverpool fans talk about your most successful captain in over 30 years, considering you're the club that never walks alone, a lot of your fucking players are made to walk alone. It's crazy. Like, you go against your own club's mantra. It's a madness to me.
At the end of the day, look, Henderson, he's not going to leave. That's fine. He's going to stay. He's captain. They're not going to sell him. That's fine. I've got issues with him because he's simply not good enough anymore. His legs have gone, and he was never a good footballer in the first place. So now that his physicality's declined and he has to rely more on his technical ability, it shows through more. Fabinho, he only worked as well as he did because he had the legs around him, so he never had to really cover everywhere. He could just end up in the right place. Now we haven't put the legs around him.
That's why you're getting Mason. That's why you're getting Mason Mount in. Very. Mate, by the way, it's legit. Like I was talking to Ben Jacobs earlier. You guys have already
How exciting!
You guys have already started making moves. You've already started the conversations. Chelsea are going to make one more attempt to keep him. But Liverpool legit 110% want Mason Mount.
I would rather Henderson than Mount. That's how little I rate Mason Mount. I would much rather watch more Henderson.
Well,
than more
I
Mount.
say get ready for it, my bro. Dinesh here says, "Evening, Terry and everyone. Since Genie left Liverpool, we have not replaced him, and we're not the same team. You haven't replaced him or Henderson, even though Henderson's still there. You know these. But Man United, you remember this, Neeks? We saw we saw Vidic and Rio." Before they left, they weren't the same as they were. So when a player goes past their best, it's horrible to see. Like, we didn't drag them out as long as you're dragging some people out, but you need to move them on typically just before they start to dip. For two reasons: one, you can get a better price and reinvest better. Two, you always remember them at the greatness. That's the one thing I love about Cantona when he retired. The man went out too early, but you only remember him being a great. You only remember him being the most. You only remember him being the captain and the leader of a team that won 4 out of 5 Premier Leagues in a 5-year period, and maybe the greatest, one of the greatest ever imports into the Premier League. So yeah, you've got
just way too sentimental this year. When we missed out on that Champions League and that Premier League, we should have cut loose. We should have pushed that rebuild to then. But what we done, because we love the relationships within the club, and we all want to have a happy memory and all that, we decided to run it back one more year.
But Tom,
this was one year way too many.
But didn't Klopp say he would never force a player out?
Yes.
He would only let them go if they want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you went for the quad or didn't go for the quad or whatever, his loyalty to his players is something that I guess even Arthur Wenger suffered from at the end of his career.
Yeah, but Liverpool did it. Liverpool did it with Gerrard. Gerrard was like so far beyond his best by the time he'd be left, and you tried playing him as like a holding midfield player, and he was
all right in holding midfield. We just never put...
yeah, exactly. All right, you're Liverpool Football Club.
Well, no, I say all right by your standards. When he was in holding midfield, he got like 11 goals, 11 assists in his
Penalties
first
and
season.
free
Like,
kicks. Come on, Tom.
You could do it from midfield. I'm not saying penalties don't count as goals, but you know as well as I do, when he was in holding midfielder, he was a good player. But Liverpool should never aspire to have good players. Liverpool aspire to have the best. It's just, but again,
that team we had at the time, I was taking any good players we had.
Sentimentality kills teams. I've seen it at Man United. You keep players when they're not good enough. You keep, not even when they're old sometimes, the faith that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had in Maguire and McTominay and Fred. It was like, what you doing, bruv? Sell them. But there we go. It always happens. Everyone who's tuned in, I want to say a big thank you to each and every single one of you. Make sure you hit the like button before you leave. Make sure you subscribe to the Football Terrace and turn on the bell notifications. Tomorrow we'll have some more content for you, kind of previews for the weekend and some news. I know there's some big Mason Greenwood news out tonight that we'll do some stuff for you on as well. And maybe some breaking news around the takeover of United. But thank you all for tuning in. My panel, you've been amazing. Make sure you scan the QR code for NordVPN. Protect yourself online at all times. And of course, get access to your content 100% of the time all around the world with it as well. It's as cheap as a cup of coffee per month. Go and check it out. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And